Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an author, an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and the host of this show, To Take Your Life Back Today radio show, combined with the YouTube version on channel Take Your Life Back Today show. I want to talk about something that's really interesting. 7 strategies to deal with difficult family members, and I know every family has them. Here is how to maintain your integrity in family relationships. Difficult people are everywhere. Like it or not, it's pretty certain that at some point in your life you'll come across a challenging person and will have to find a way to deal with them. It would be easy to think, why bother altogether? Why not just blow it and sweep it under the rug? If being around them causes you grief, you need to do something about it. But it's not as easy as that. Sometimes we're forced into situations where we have little control over that. Being related to such a person in such circumstances can be fatal. In fact, family members are often the hardest to deal with because they are connected to us in a much more complicated, intimate way. With difficult acquaintances like friends, colleagues, lovers, or neighbors, you may have to deal with them for a time here and there, either until a conflict between you is resolved or until you're able to remove yourself from the situation itself. However, with a family member, we are almost obligated to go the extra mile for the sake of the integrity of the family group and unity. In other words, personal relationships may affect the family as a whole. If you don't get along with a family member, it may be very well to put strain on your family relationships as well, my friends. So, what I suggest are these 7 things. So, honestly, what do you do about those people you may not like very much and may not choose to have in your life, but are forced to deal with because they are your family? Well, number 1 on my list would be don't try to fix the difficult person. Accept them exactly as they are. This applies to all difficult people, not just family. It's tempting to try to help someone you want to care about, but you probably will make some efforts to help them. But you also need to remember they are family. Sometimes this works, but often your efforts will not be rewarded. In fact, trying to fix someone or make their life better may become a huge headache because they are family, and the more you do for them, the more they want from you. Except that they are unable to change, at least at the point of this time. Unless you see real change, proof that the person is making an effort to listen and meet you halfway might not get you anywhere. You can assume that their behavior is what it is always going to be. It's important to temper your expectations about what others can and want you to do. Number 2 on my list is be present and direct. Know that the person who is trying to stir up conflict can easily set you off emotionally and even physically, possibly raising your heart rate and blood pressure. Try to prevent getting into a fight or flight response, which probably will lead to becoming defensive. You do not want an argument or a heated discussion. Stay true to yourself, grounded in your own integrity. Be direct and assertive when you express yourself. Stay focused on how you respond. Know that when the discussion or argument has accelerated to a point of no return, meaning that it's no longer about conflict resolution but about winning, if it gets to this point, stop the interaction and leave the conversation immediately. Number 1 and number 2 are important, but number 3 can be just as important. Do encourage difficult people to express themselves. Obviously, before conversation has gotten out of hand, as I mentioned before, let them fully state their point of view about the issue, conflict, problem without interruption. Why do they feel judged or criticized by others? What do they feel people are doing, or maybe they are misunderstood? What do they want or expect from others? The idea is to try to remain as neutral as possible. Just listening rather than trying to engage may be enough to allow someone to feel like they have the floor to say what's on their mind. Showing respect for another's differences may go a long way in the long run. Number 4 would be watch for trigger topics. Eventually, there'll be certain topics that represent points of disagreement and disharmony. Know what these topics are ahead of time and be extremely aware when these are brought up. Your past experiences should help you, especially when you are confronted with these delicate subjects. Be prepared to either address these issues in a direct and non-confrontational way or to deflect the conflict if the atmosphere becomes so heated. Number 5 would be know some topics are absolutely off limits. Period. History and experiences should tell you that these subjects should be avoided at all costs. That's not to say that important issues should be permanently avoided. Rather, if your experience dealing with certain issues has left you stressed out in the past, emotionally depleted also in the past, and the discussion has not progressed sufficiently along to represent a rapprochement of sorts, then it's best to avoid this discussion until a time when both parties are willing to move it forward in a constructive, mature way. These examples are very important for us to apply because number 6, it's not about you usually. Yes, it's hard not to take things personally, especially when you're attacked or made to feel responsible for someone else. But if you look at the anatomy of the conflict, you can see how these often play out. Notice how people progressively move through a discussion or an argument, how they kind of sliver their way around. Usually, it initially centers around a specific topic, disagreement, or response that made a person upset or angry. If allowed to continue, the argument often becomes heated, accelerated quickly to personal attacks, which often includes trying to make you feel responsible or guilty for not responding the way someone wants you to respond. If you have been through this kind of interaction before, make a concerted effort to imagine it unfolding before it actually does, and nip it in the bud. And last on my list would be your own well-being comes first, because you are number 1. While you want to be respectful and attentive to others as much as you can, you don't want to bend over backwards or twist yourself into a pretzel just to make someone else happy or even satisfied, or to just keep the peace. That would be an important reason to put yourself first. Never allow any personal interaction or relationship to infringe upon or challenge your own well-being. Visualize your boundaries, that protective territory between you and someone else. No one is entitled to occupy your space unless you invite them in. And there's that special situation where families gather together for a special occasion or a holiday. It's best to plan ahead so that you have a good idea about how time will be spent with those relatives. Don't leave too much unplanned in your timing. You don't want to get into a situation where you're left alone with a difficult family member with whom you have an issue or a conflict with. Someone who confronts, challenges, incites, aggravates, and basically pushes your buttons. Surround yourself with people you get along with, supportive people who care about enjoying time together with you. Call me at 844-405-HELP because together we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Remember, simple smile to a total stranger can go a long way, and it can change their life, and it can even change yours. May God bless you, and have a great Tuesday today, and may God always be with you. And thank you for watching the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. Take good care. Take care.